All right, guys, welcome back. Keys to the Rock, Season 2, Episode 2. Perhaps it's Episode 14 overall, but who's counting?
We're not doing that, Ben.
I know. Well, Ben Rego, joined by Daniel Woods. Great to see you, mate. And, we do this rain or shine.
Yeah.
8 a.m. on a Sunday morning,
Whoop. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed the last episode. Big thank you to our sponsors who's been keeping us up and running and paying for these guys over on this side. Putting out the checks. Anywho.
But yeah, thank you to Kareem, our last guest. He did an amazing job.
Kareem James from Bermuda Commercial Bank, BCB.
BM.
So I've actually, since last episode was on banking, mortgages, whatnot, and is it government guarantee, I want to say? Yeah. Since that time, actually,
check out the website. Apparently, if you're not sure,
yeah.
Kareem kept plugging that.
And since that time, I've actually signed up with them. Started an account, and I'm looking at the government guarantee.
Since the show, I've perhaps even sold Kareem and you a house. So it's been a very busy time in real estate for both of you.
You're not a very private guy, are you?
Well, can I not say that? I don't know.
So go check out that episode. Learn everything you need to know. I found it very educational and enlightening for me. So much so that I went ahead and started an account and have got this newfound relationship with Kareem. In a banking setting. So, Season 2, Episode 1. But anyway, Ben, on a beautiful day, I know this place is amazing.
Yeah.
Because in this weather, this place is amazing right now.
That's always a great thing always a great thing to say whenever it's not the best weather and you're at a stunning property. It's like, oh, if you like it now, imagine how you'd think on a lovely day. So we're at Sandymount, guys. This property, they've done amazing events here. You can rent it out for short-term vacation rentals. I know they've done weddings and all sorts. One of our colleagues, Rachel Sawdin, she knows everything to do with the property. She used to even property manage here, and is now with our company.
And we've had her on an episode before.
We did, yeah. It's one of the new agent episodes with Tosh Williams, who also just had a baby. Whoop.
Shout out Tosh.
I'll ask her if she ever watches this to see if she appreciates that shout out. And but yes, reach out to Rachel. There's some interesting opportunities for this unbelievable property. So we'll have some behind the scenes footage of this, especially on a nicer day as well.
And we can put Rachel's information right here, right, Amir? Yeah. Rachel's information right here. Yeah. Sure. All right. Shout out Amir. We're gonna get into today's guest, but before we do that, we just had a big week. Just last week, where the budget.
You talking about when you were away? Yeah.
We just had a big week last week. Well, I was away.
Yeah.
I was doing my project management professional, PMP certification. So I'm trying to get that, add another designation, certification. It's
all about the acronyms, mate.
Yeah, get a couple more letters behind my names. Some of us are real estate professionals, others are just real estate agents or whatnot. But moving on, can you give us a market update, Ben? Where are we at right now? And I'll get into bits and pieces about the budget after that. But you go ahead.
Yeah, so obviously we're getting near the end of the first quarter of the year, and it has just been, I know it's sometimes like, repeating what we say, but it's crazy, guys. For example, these are just some quick little snippets of what's happening. Rental side of things. Right now, there's about 50 rental listings island-wide at any price point. 50
total. That is not much.
Tomorrow, I've got a one-bedroom for $4,200, and it's lovely property.
One bedroom for $4,200?
And I've got 2 sight-unseen offers and 8 tours back-to-back tomorrow.
Is it furnished?
Furnished. But it's
good location?
It's hardly bigger than the room that they're filming in right now.
Oh, that's nice.
It's really, really small, but it's amazing. It's a newer build, little cottage. But 8 tours tomorrow, 2 sight unseen offers. You can imagine where those offers are. It's going to go within a day at or higher than the asking price.
So
that's one.
How does the landlord decide on who they want?
Yeah.
Because if you're getting, say, 10 offers, varying price points, does it come down to the rental profile of the person, or does it?
Definitely. And I always give like a gut check with how I give my opinion to sellers or landlords, especially a landlord, because sometimes the seller is like, want the best price, and then they're done with it.
They wipe their hands of it.
Yeah.
But you guys have to do your checks.
But yeah, like for example, this cottage in particular, the landlord lives in the main house, which is 50 yards away.
So they want someone who is close.
Yeah. So it's a shame, but landlords ideally want the most, the easiest lack of wear and tear. So no kids, no pets. They can't necessarily always say that, but if there's just a single working professional who travels all the time, they're going to go with them. Yeah. You know what I mean? So if there's a couple, then there's one extra person who's using the property and stuff. So, it just really, really depends. But, the landlords hold all the cards right now with how the business is going.
Yeah, no, it's very tough because, and I think we spoke to it last episode or maybe last season, but it's one of those things that really, as a young person coming up, trying to move out and whatnot, the cards are sort of stacked against you when you're trying to set yourself up or have that, that individual space and stuff like that. And it's one of those things that's actually not supported in Bermuda in the sense of people aren't coming back home, and it's sort of a brain drain is the common term that they like to use, because people aren't coming back home because it's difficult to go live out on your own, or it's difficult to do all of these things because...
I mean, I know I've been speaking to some employers who haven't actually, they've been saying it's so difficult to hire really good, talented people to bring in as well, because then the cost of living in Bermuda and how the rents have gone, when they bring them in and they can't really get a 2-bedroom for less than $6,000 for like a good one for, high quality people, they're like, how are they going to come down here? So then it's tough with the hiring process.
Bacon's
as well.
$12. And I don't even eat bacon, but it's $12.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Everyone says like give eggs on Valentine's Day or something like that. You know what I mean? It's not, but that's on the rental side of things. And then sales, it's very much the same. I mean, this year I've got 17 closing pendings. 17.
Including me and Kareem.
Yeah. Actually, no. Well, one of them's not as concrete yet, as you know. So you fudge so that will be 18. But no, it's crazy. I mean, even you might have seen these 3 lots that I put for sale in Pampas. So 2 of those are already gone in 4 days. 2 of those are already gone. There was 4 offers in total.
Printing money.
Moss, who's in the background, helped me with that video. So he's like, shaking his head.
Oh, you did the dude with sign video.
Yeah, that was
very corny. Corny AF.
Hey, corny gets views. But
corny gets views.
But that as well, showing, with the cost of construction, people are saying for high quality, you're kind of starting at $650 minimum a square foot. And...
luckily, we have a guy who's going to clarify some of that. Right?
True, but...
That's what quantity surveyors do, guys.
Of course. But, to show that there's still that much ambition to buy land and build is just unbelievable. So
there's a lot of development opportunity and redevelopment opportunity in Bermuda.
Yeah.
If only I knew a guy or new guys who were trying to do and interrupt that space. Yeah. That would be fantastic.
But just to close on that, so like the crystal ball thing is, I think the market... generally as a whole will slow this year due to many factors that we've been speaking about. But I do think that the moment that there's any good listing, it then is the most crazy feeding frenzy. So it's a slow market until there's a good listing, and then there's just lack of inventory for sale and for rentals in quality locations.
And it sort of circles back to the point that we was making last episode of having all of your cards in a row. Yeah. So that you are ready to jump on it when the time comes, right? Yeah. Like, I got presented an opportunity with a property, and although I preach it on this show, I didn't have my cards necessarily in a row. I have them in a row now, but it's one of those things where you
better because we need to get that deal done.
All right. Anyway, so let's talk about today's guest, Robert J. Richardson, quantity surveyor, MRICS. Recently got it, so we're gonna have to congratulate him on that.
Yeah, Rick seems to be all the rage nowadays. You got Rick's, he's got Rick's. So I know you're feeling some kind of way. But
do you know Rick?
Yeah, Rick. Yeah, that guy. He's
from
cool.
Kroll.
Oh yeah, of course. We're nearby.
So Robert
J. Richardson.
Robert J. Richardson. Yeah. It's got the same initial as me.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True.
But anyway,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So he's going to talk to us about all things quantity surveying, and I think it's going to actually be quite refreshing because it's one of those things
like the rain on your face.
It's going to be one of those things quite similar to
this guy towel.
Structural surveyors that people just generally just don't know. Pass the towel. All right, let's bring on Robbie. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Take two, yes. I'm not sure if Moss or Amir edited it, but you'll see that we got rained out just now. But, all is good. And we are back with Robert J. Richardson, quantity surveyor, MRICS. Robert, great to have you. Tell us about yourself.
Thanks for having me. Please don't say my middle initial, J. Yeah,
Well,
that's
I'm
good.
Daniel J. So
I'm Benjamin H. Rego.
You always want to be like me, J. Same initials now.
The J's.
But anyway,
can you tell us about yourself, Robert, and not your name?
Okay, Robert Richardson. Everyone calls me Robbie. Recently became a member of the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, and Rick's qualified now.
Just quickly, is that? Yeah. I mean, I heard that's all the rage. I know Daniel just got Rick certified. Did you have a big party with the letters as well?
You know, Daniel's very extra, and I told everybody I wasn't doing a party, so I just threw something in the Royal Gazette and Bermuda and just left it as that.
Hey, subtle.
Subtle. But yeah, so I am a quantity surveyor / project management consultant. I've been doing it for about 15 years now. Yeah, pretty long actually. I enjoy it. One of my biggest clients at the moment is the government, amongst others right now. So yeah.
Good. And so quantity surveyor, QS, like what exactly is that? What do you do? What do they do?
In layman's terms, for the general public, essentially someone will come to me and I will give them or tell them how much it costs to do their project. Either build their home or commercial project, let them know how much it costs. So yeah, that's basically the short version of it.
Short version of it. So in terms of importance of a quantity surveyor, right? Because one thing that I think I spoke about this probably either last episode or just before you came on. There's so many different types of surveyors and blah, 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 blah. But how important is a quantity surveyor? I mean, we had a structural surveyor or structural engineer on last year, and, you know, you can see the value and the importance of getting that work done. Quantity surveyor, I would say, is similar, equally, if not more important, to help keep things in cost. Can you? Yeah,
I would say it's probably...
Which surveyor is the most important?
Well, at the end of the day, you need financing for most projects.
Yes.
Well, all projects. Whether you're going to the bank or whether you're paying out of pocket, you need to know how much. So what I would do is obviously help any client basically say, this is what it's going to cost to do your project. I break it down into the smallest forms of the project, looking at how much concrete, how much rebar, how much steel beams, anything like that. And then break down sort of labor, materials, your contingencies, your risk, insurances, all of that. So it's a lot that goes into it.
But so when you're doing that, I mean, sorry, Daniel, but my question. We alternate. We
don't have questions.
We've been doing this for 2 seasons. But you know, so who do you typically work for? Or who hires you? Is that the contractors themselves to figure out how much something's going to cost for whomever is hiring them, or is it the owner of the property who hires you as well?
Good question. You can work on both sides. So traditionally, I've worked for a contractor, and that's where my background is. But a QS can be hired by just a private individual that's looking to do renovations or build a new home. The value in that is that they'll go to a quantity surveyor with some sort of drawings. Be like, you can do a feasibility study at first to say your project's going to be X amount, and then as the project progresses, you get more detailed drawings that you can now go to the bank to get financing. Same thing for a commercial client that's looking to build a hotel or maybe a high-rise building. A quantity surveyor will come in at the beginning and say, okay, this is how much it is, and they work on that behalf, and also, like I said, the contractor. So when it comes to now a commercial project or a residential project looking for contractors, they will normally want to go out to a number of contractors to get competitive bids. Quantity surveyor will help a contractor to bid for those projects.
Just a quick follow-up.
Sorry, go ahead.
Because I just went against what I just said to you.
Second time, I thought you said we alternate, but I mean, you're going off cue here.
2-1. No, but just because I know that this wasn't on our question list.
We don't have a question list.
We don't have a question. It's all off the cuff. But how are you like billable hourly, or how does that? I mean, you don't have to say your rate, but how do you charge?
No, say your rate.
No, I'm not saying my rate.
Yeah. But is it an hourly charge?
It's hybrid. It depends on the job. It depends on the client. If it's a small job, it can just be hourly. If it's a large job that's going to be over a number of months, you'll want to sort of put a fee proposal together, agree with the client exactly what they're looking for, because quantity surveying work doesn't just stop at, oh, hey, look, this is what your project costs. You can also hire a quantity surveyor to help manage your project through the different stages of construction. So once the project started, I will also come in and say, and if it depends who you're working for, whether it's for the contractor or the client. If it's for the client, contractors put in what we will call interim valuations to get paid monthly, depending on the length of the project. If I'm working for the client, then I'm going to verify those to make sure that what they're claiming is correct. If I'm working for the contractor, now I'm looking at how much work they've done in terms of percentage completion, and I'm saying, look, you put this into the client. So it goes both ways.
Okay. So we're going to probably stick to more client-based for a lot of this conversation, just because of our listening audience,
right.
I would assume, more so. But so if I was a general person and I was looking to renovate or add on or even just fit out a property myself, I've purchased land or I want to do an extension, whatever the case may be, how does someone basically utilize, I mean, you've spoken to it to a degree, but how would, I guess, explain the process that person should be going? Because what I find is a lot of people go to contractors and they get they get information from different contractors, but they don't necessarily, like a QS is almost forgotten sometimes, or you wouldn't know, but it's sort of like, it's one of the things, because it's not sometimes necessarily regulated through the bank, it becomes like sort of forgotten, and it's like a piece that people can cut around, which ends up, and you will be able to speak to it more than me, but it ends up actually hurting the client or the individual because they've got so much of a
gap,
exposure or a gap in terms of, the contractor said my cost is going to be this much, but my cost is actually worked out to this much, and whereas you can sort of qualify that a little bit more, obviously, because of MRICS.
All right, so Dan has said a lot, so I'll try to break that down. Essentially, the process would be a lot. Okay, let me back up. So a lot of people don't know how you can use a quantity surveyor. Some people do know, and cost is paramount. So people always want construction for, the smallest amount of money being spent. So you look at a project manager or a quantity surveyor and think, I got to pay more to get this job done. So they think, okay, I'll cut out that expense. I would say that that's a bad move. So getting into the process is that you come to me, Daniel J. Woods. Oh, I want to add a bedroom onto my house, or I want to build this house onto the land that I just built. So the first thing I'm going to ask you is, do you have any sort of schematic designs or drawings from an architect or some sort of designer? The reason I'm going to do that is because that allows me to be able to look at square footages and sort of give you a budget number.
Yeah, because you have to go by the technical, the specs.
Yes, go by the specs, look at the drawing, look at the spacing. And then if you don't have that, I'm going to point you into that direction to say, okay, go to X, Y, and Z architect who maybe I've worked with or who I think's good. Once I have a nice working set of drawings, I'm going to provide you a price that then you can go to the bank to say, okay, this quantity surveyor who's RIC certified said, this is how much it costs to build my home. You're going to get your financing. Hopefully, have some money saved up. We move on to that process, and then you say, okay, I've got the financing. I'm ready to go. Then I'm going to say, okay, let's go out to some contractors to now make sure that their pricing is in line with mine, or in a perfect world, it'll be a little bit less because it's a competitive bid. Once we get those, I'm going to vet the prices, say, yes, I think you should use this contractor based on their experience and their price. Everything's covered. And then we go to construction. And I'll work with you to make sure that the contractor is doing everything as per the drawings, as per the specs, and as per contract. That's what it looks like in a perfect world.
And that's sort of using both of your skill sets. So,
so
essentially that's a little bit more of like the project management side in terms of dealing with the contractors and the bids and making sure that things are going as per sort of like, I guess, the pro forma of things. And then at the same time, you're also using the quantity surveying aspect. And then
it's dual purpose. So once we get to the construction phase, now I'm switching to my project manager hat. But you still need the quantity surveyor sort of skill set to look at the financing, the cost management, to make sure everything's aligned.
No, that makes complete sense.
So should you use a quantity surveyor when you're looking to get like a loan on a house? This is one of the questions that we had from the audience.
Yes. So it's dual. Depending on where you're at in your loan process, you would use an appraiser. If you're trying to get equity in your house, to say, you can get X amount. Once you know that value, then you'll go to a quantity surveyor. It's like, I have this set of drawings, I'm adding on, I want to do a master suite, whatever you want to do. And then you go to a QS and say, okay, let me know how much this is. Hopefully it's in your sort of, you're in that region that you want to get.
Yeah, it's all got to work out, right? Because a lot of times I know from our appraisal side of things, we've been recently doing more so before and after appraisals, right? So, or as is, and then after upon completion. So someone would come to us and they'd say, "Hey, Daniel, I'm looking to get these works done. These are the works. These are the this is the QS report. This is how much it's going to cost to do X, Y, Z." And so we say, "All right, the property right now is valued at, let's say, $1 million. They're going to put in. They've got a QS report that says the works that they're going to do is going to cost $200K."
Yeah.
And then we say, okay, based on those works being completed to this standard that's been outlined in the QS report, or the finished product of whatever, we're going to say, okay, if you do all of that, then the value is going to be
hopefully
this
more
amount.
than 1.2 in the end.
Ideally, in an ideal world, But sometimes a lot of people spend money on stuff that doesn't necessarily equate to value,
Bermuda,
right?
The cost of construction.
Yeah. So speaking about the cost of construction, the number one question, and it's nobody in your shoes likes it, but at the same time, you're a QS. So, each project's different. Right now, I know just the cost of concrete has just gone up.
Yeah, that's a big talking point right now.
Yeah, I know.
Huge
Lumber over the last, years, everything.
Everything's gone up. Lumber, steel,
Labor,
in terms of, rebar, concrete, block, and everything.
And these aren't these aren't insignificant price increases. These are all like 25 to 40%.
Even higher. I think concrete's going up in some instances 50 to 55%. Block, same thing, 50 to 60%. So it really has a significant effect on the market. It really, just to speak on that a little bit, generally speaking, in Bermuda, they don't have sort of contracts that talk about inflation or cost increase in the middle of a project.
Yeah.
So most of the time, you're
lock
pricing.
it in, right?
Yeah, you lock in for a quote.
Yeah.
So let's just look at the increase in concrete and block in January.
Yeah.
If somebody started to build a house in October and the end date is March, some tough conversations that need to be held with the contractor and the client to say, hey, this is what price increases are, but some clients can dig their heels in the ground and say, you gave me a set price.
No, of course.
This is what you told me.
Yeah.
But, what we're finding is that people are working together because it's not like a 2%, 3%, 5%. It's been like 50% across materials. So
contractors are probably almost breaking even by the end of those.
Maybe not even, to be quite honest with you. Could be losing money depending on the size of the job, how much concrete, how much. Now, if it's a smaller project, you could try to eat it, but large builds, significant increases.
So what would you say is the general cost right now per square? Oh, the Spurs just win?
We just got a score update.
Oh. So Ben's watching the Spurs game.
I'm not
for
watching,
people
but I've got a sign language in the background.
So the Spurs
What's the score now?
Yeah, 2-0.
Oh, it's 2-0. All right, nice. Nobody cares.
Could be a lie. Could be a lie.
Nobody cares. So circling back to the original question, which I remember we had Alex Dacuto on for a great episode. So if you haven't watched that, go watch that. He's also a QS technically, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for Alex. Very big in the industry. So.
Great guy. Much better than you. You're a little bit better looking than him. But,
he's been in it for a long time. So
he knows his stuff. He knows his stuff. So the question that he said, obviously, he couldn't really put a finger on it.
Yes.
So price per square foot, right?
Like Alex said, QSs, people in construction,
like Alex
period.
said, you're a super fan, so you saw that episode.
Yes, for sure.
Maybe we should put the link to that episode
here.
He's
watched it 3 times.
I've watched it a few times.
We're going to put the link to the episode here of Alex's episode.
Yeah.
And let's put Alex's details here, too.
At the end of the episode
we're going to tag Gray Main on the post, too, please, Ali.
Yeah.
So the cost per square foot.
So, that episode was a year ago? I don't know how long.
That was about a year ago at Azora, which now is nearing completion. But anyway, enough about that. So, QSs, people in construction, hate that question because people obviously hold their hat on what you're going to say in terms of the square footage rate. Now, it's no one set rate. It's not cookie cutter. Every project's different. Yeah. So at the end of the day, there's always going to be a range depending on low end, depending on high end finishes. So I'm going to say right now it's anywhere between 400 to 800 square foot in terms of your construction to build a home. So yeah. And can it be cheaper? Like, how would and we're going sort of off our unscripted script,
which we do,
which we always do, right? Like it's just more of a casual conversation, right? Because with any good conversation, more questions and things will come up. Yeah, very fluid. So how would say, and this might interject into sort of what you're doing in your space and what you're lining up to do, but how would someone cut down on a lot of costs within a project? So say if Ben is as cheap as he gets, right? have to beg them to buy me a coffee every day. But
I bought coffee for the whole team today. Financially responsible, guys. That's key. Talk to me offline.
But how would someone, if they're really trying to cut down on costs of a project, how would they be able to really just, what's the best way for them to sort of approach a project? I mean, it's going to be a lot more hands-on of themselves
so
and requiring them. But
you can do things. Let's say if you're doing a renovation, you can do the demo yourself. As a client, you can also, provide all the owner-supplied materials in terms of your toilets, your fixtures, your lighting.
And that's not it. And that's probably even like removing Bermuda, like
yes,
vendors.
so that's what I was just going to say. So do your
Yeah.
homework in terms of looking online, looking at vendors, reading the quality, reading reviews. That might take a good portion of your time, but the amount of money you could save getting good quality products for, less of a cost, bringing it in yourself.
All of the profit margins from everyone else, right?
Exactly. So contractors are always going to put on at least 10 to 15% on what I'm buying for you. So you can
for their time.
Right. But you can cut that out by doing it yourself. You can cut that out by doing it yourself.
But one thing I've noticed, right, and I think we spoke on it with the episode with I want to say Danielle, what's the last name? Danielle Painter and Lizzie Blankendahl.
Put the link right here. For
we'll put that link right here too. Amir, you're gonna have your work cut out for you, buddy. But Danielle Painter was saying one of the benefits of using Bermudian vendors and stuff like that is obviously they know the environment, right? So if we look outside right now,
for furniture
obviously
and whatever,
the type of day that we're having, and the humidity, the et cetera, all of the conditions that Bermudian stuff has to stay into, is something that might be actually foreign to the outside person looking in. So I see both sides of it. That's something I'm just saying that just to say, that's a consideration that also has to be thought of when you're going after your stuff, right? You're going after your stuff, and you're getting stuff that's
Bermuda's definitely a unique environment.
That's built for Boston or New York or something like that. It's not going to really necessarily work as well in the sort of conditions that Bermuda has, right?
So do any contractors, do they have quantity surveyors on staff, or do they always outsource to you guys? And then how many people like yourself are there on the island?
That's two questions.
Well, it's a dumb thing. I'll do a third one off of that as well.
It's fine, Daniel.
Get jealous.
So it really depends on the contractor and the size. So I know contractors that have QSs on the payroll, but they also double as either project managers or maybe site supervisors. So once they've put in a price,
that's what you previously done, right?
Yeah. So once they've put in a price, now they're going out to site, helping with the productivity, and then coming back to the office, making sure that the finances are cool. Smaller companies tend to outsource it because obviously it can be expensive to have someone like that on your payroll. So it's a bit of both.
And then how many of you on the island would you say?
It's a handful of us. It's not a lot. Off the top, I know of maybe 5 or 6.
And are you the only Bermudian? I mean, there's not...
No. There are other Bermudians.
Okay.
But then it's also the qualified versus the unqualified.
Right, and that was the point I was going to get at. So
they're
the Rick's qualified, then they're the ones
Rick
that...
is qualifying a lot of people lately.
Rick is the guy.
Rick is the guy. Yeah, so the benefit of being qualified, obviously, is that you can now be on the banks list. You got a bit more work. People generally...
Which is necessary in the grand scheme of things, right?
So if I'm signing off on your works to get you financing, I need to be certified.
Got to have the stamp.
Yeah. So a lot of people actually do know how to price work and do know how to do takeoffs, put labor and all that to them, but they don't have the certification. That's sort of just built up by their experience, them being in the field, and just knowing how to do general construction works.
And it's the assurances that come with the stamp too, right? Like, I mean, that's part of why you're on the bank list, all right? And we talk about the bank list in the sense of like it's this the almighty, but essentially that is why you went the route to get chartered.
You see an email signature with a bunch of letters at the end, you're like, okay, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So speaking of your designation and getting chartered, how do you go about getting chartered? I mean, there's a few different routes. I mean, I'm very familiar with it, but I'm just asking more
for the public.
For the general interest.
So first of all, you have to sign up to the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors. The route that I took was called the Assessment of Professional Competence Preliminary route, which meant that I had to have a 4-year bachelor degree and then at least 5 years experience working in the field. And then there is a series of different written submissions and sort of core competencies that you need to know as a QS. You submit those. varying from 1,500 words to 4,000 words. It's a case study on a project, so it's pretty intensive.
You gotta really show that you know
show
what
that
you're
you
talking
know what
about.
you're talking about.
And then on top of that,
Why is he answering the question for me?
I know.
and then on
He
top
wants
of
to
that, you gotta do an interview.
You do a 60-minute
panel,
interview
yeah,
with a panel.
We just interview you, Daniel.
Yeah, so ask me questions about Rex.
Likes the limelight. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Daniel J. Woods.
Daniel J. So Robert
Got to
J.
expose his middle names, I think.
So Robert J. What would you say is better, new build or renovation?
Again, there's no right or wrong answer in that. It really just depends on the finances you have.
But what would play a part?
What do you mean better?
Yeah, when you say better. It really just depends what you have and what you don't have.
Questions. These are your questions. Why are you?
You wanted us to ask the question. Someone define
for
better.
me, it comes down to it always comes down to the cost.
Yeah, I was gonna say with the cost of construction right now, renovation would probably be more ideal, right?
Cost efficient.
Yes.
Yeah.
So someone looking to put value in the home and up it and just refresh it. It could be a house that's been built for a number of years. You want to do a new kitchen. You want to do a new bathroom. That's generally where everyone goes. You want to take up tile and put down new flooring. You know,
And those are the stuff that we on the valuation side see as sort of the most important, right?
That add value.
A lot of people don't really
Kitchens and bathrooms.
bathrooms, flooring. You know, because a lot of times people come with all of the bells and whistles. No one's going to care if you have gold faucets. You know, like gold faucets is unique to
It's not
Ben.
a good ROI on that.
Yeah,
necessarily.
like, you know, but like, I'm going to walk in there. Ben really likes his gold faucets and said,
No,
I spent this
not a
much
good
money
guy.
on gold faucets, you know, and we're going to be like, Ben, no one cares.
Yeah, but
Right?
also switching out like doors and windows as well. You know, that can have a major, you know, aesthetic pleasingly look on your property. You know what I mean?
So out of curiosity, because it's one of those things that, and I'm going back to the cost points, because it's sort of like the general thing that people want to know, right? I mean, you watch the show, you're going to want to know certain, you know, get a ballpark of certain figures, right? So the cost to renovate a bathroom, and let's just say we're talking average bathroom.
Yeah, depends on the size.
Is, let's say
What's your average size bathroom?
5x7.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say 6x8, but yeah, cool.
So for me, that's going to entail a complete gut. You're taking out all the old fixtures, the toilet, the tub, taking up the tile. You're probably going to
modernizing it. Yeah,
totally modernizing it. That's going to be anywhere from
20.
Well, 12, it's a range.
12 to 15.
Yeah, 10
15.
to about 15 for a small
I
bathroom.
added on a gold faucet, I think.
You put the Rego tax on it.
A larger
Rego tax.
bathroom can be anywhere from 20 to maybe 30, 35. It all just depends on the quality of your finishes, the size, really.
So do you, let's say if someone's going out to bid and they go out to 3 to 5, whatever contractors, are you ever working for multiple contractors and helping to provide a quote when they're going out for that?
No,
job?
technically there would be a conflict of interest.
Okay, yeah.
So I wouldn't want to, on one project, I wouldn't want to price for Daniel and
So
you.
you always have to.
So you basically, you know, in this field, you want to be fully transparent.
Okay.
Integrity is most important.
Yeah.
And but no, I'm already pricing for. Sorry, Ben, I'm already pricing for Daniel.
That's good.
So
to know.
I shouldn't do
Because
this.
it's interesting. I mean, I know from myself and then others, clients all the time, where one contractor will say, you know, it's going to be X amount. That might be double the amount of what someone else does. So you almost can't even fathom, like, okay, how are they
Like how?
calculating the
Yeah,
amount of
how?
block materials and everything, you know, to come up with
Yeah.
something that literally might be double the other one. So.
Different contractors have different ways of pricing.
Approaches.
Yeah.
They have different approaches. It comes down to method. It comes down to also their overheads, what they put their markups at. So all of that plays into how they view the risk in the project. So contractor X might think, okay, well, I can do it quite easily, and he's a smaller contractor, so his margins are lower. Contractor Y, he's bigger, he's got more overhead. So that all goes into it too. And also, people don't like to hear this, but when the market's booming, some contractors say, well, I can't really do that,
They
so
just
I'm
put something ridiculous.
going to put something on top of it to say it's going to be worth my while if I get it.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Fair
Yeah,
enough. Fair enough.
and so I mean, so it sounds like obviously the impact and influence that you have on jobs, and it's sort of very necessary in works and people doing works. You know, so I would say, can you explain to the general public now, I guess, why, or give an example of someone where they wish they used a QS, or they're very like, you know, like we did it with Mark.
Jordan.
Yeah, we did. Not worst case scenario, but horror story.
Horror story.
Horror story. He gave us a whole runaround about this. Remember? It was crazy. Anyway, don't get as left as him. I'm sure you watched that.
Should we put that link?
More links.
Mark Jordan.
Mark Jordan's link.
But,
so I have one right off the top of my head. Someone approached me a couple of years back to price their home. They had a 2-bedroom cottage. They were adding on a carport. Took the roof off, went up. A basement.
That's a good question too. Circle back to that.
So a basement, everything. So it was a full renovation and addition. I gave them my price, and they got another. I obviously encouraged them to get other prices. My price was probably about 150 more than the lowest bid.
The price of your
to do it.
The price to do the job.
The price to do the job.
150,000.
Yeah.
150,000 lower than higher. Sorry, than what the lower contractor was. So I said to them, that's fine. If they can do it for that, that's okay. I'll still help to manage the project for you on your side if you don't wish to go with the price that I gave. And they said no at the time. So, okay.
Then they always come back.
Always come back. The home looks good, but they said to me, look, I wished I would have used you as a project manager to help me as, I would have been their sort of shield between them and the contractor. Of course. Which is a big thing, right? They basically said that by the time that they finished dealing with that contract and they said, oh, this was included, that wasn't included, you got to pay this. Now, obviously, they used COVID as a crutch to say, supply chain issues, which some of it is truthful, some of it was not. It almost ended up being very close to my original price. Mm-hmm. So they were like, I should have bought you one.
How is typically the biggest investment someone's going to make, so sometimes it makes sense to hire the right professionals and really take it seriously, not cut corners.
Yeah,
correct.
Quick thing, score check. 2-0, thanks.
Okay. So you mentioned the price of, and this is something that we get quite often. I'd say you always have it as a question when you're looking at selling properties and stuff like that. You would say, oh, you can always go up, right? Or you don't always say
more expensive to go up,
but it's very expensive to go up. Yeah. So could you give us a explanation of why it's expensive, or I'm just making up this question as I go, but can you talk in more detail about going up, and then even if you could put a cost associated with,
people like
marble staircase.
People like going up because obviously in Bermuda there's not a lot of land at the moment. So you have setbacks to deal with and woodland reserve and all of that. So sometimes it's just more practical to go up. Yeah. To do that, you're looking at obviously, first of all, you're having to move out of the home depending on how large the home is. You might have to now pay rent or storage, and that's a cost that you got to look into for you being out of the house for a set period of time. And then the roof's coming off, so you're taking off all the lumber, all of the drywall, and then literally having to jack up parts of the house, pouring a slab, and then going up block work and then another roof. So, yeah. In terms of a cost, that's difficult.
Yeah,
that's difficult to say.
It's just on basis
really,
size,
that's difficult
right?
to say. So I don't want to put my.
We're holding you to it.
No, I'm not doing that because there's going to be people watching us going to say, "Robbie said, Robbie said that if I went up." So I'm gonna say it.
So and I'm not even sure if this is I can't read the. So, Amir's trying to tell me hurry up, but Amir's not the boss.
Yeah, does he have a J in his middle name? Don't think so. Neither do I.
What is Amir's? Amir, what's the middle name? All right, anywho.
Moss's middle name.
Yeah, Peter J. Souza.
Oh, it is.
I spilled that. Anyway.
Don't say his real name.
Anywho, what is... Just so people have an idea of your pricing, I guess. What is the price for QS services or project management services? So if I wanted to hire Robert J. Richardson to do some work for me, obviously I remember you saying some things can be done on an hourly basis, some things can be scaled on the type of project. But generally, especially now that you have your letters.
So as a range, I'll give a range because obviously all QSs charge different rates depending on their experience and what services they're providing.
And their letters.
Yes, the letters. Some have more letters than others. I would say that price range anywhere from 140 to about 190 per hour in terms of what they're going to do.
In the grand scheme of things.
I think so.
So and just to get an idea, right? If you're doing a renovation or say let's say you're doing a 1-bedroom add-on, how long would that take you generally?
inclusive of
to price it.
pricing a 1-bedroom add-on, that'd probably take me 2 hours, if that.
Okay,
not even.
so-
You know what I mean?
But you're getting the exact cost.
Right.
And so
Quickly round it up to 3 though, probably for the invoice.
Right. So something like that, I'm going to charge maybe
expensive.
something like that. I'll charge like $300, $400 to do.
Yeah.
You know, because I'll do it quickly.
And you know exactly
what
what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And then is this the same cost for
But
project management?
Let's back up a bit. That's if I have a full set of working drawings and all the details are there. If I have to help with their services, and let's go to an architect and help this, help that. Obviously, it can be more money.
Understood.
Good.
I'm trying to think if I have any more questions.
Do you have anything else you want to touch upon?
I have a question, but it's not sort of. I mean, just going off of what we was talking about before you came on the episode, right? And this is probably going to throw you off a bit, but. We was talking about...
What's the best contractor?
No, I'm not answering that.
But no, we was talking about basically how there's such a lack of rental supply right now. There is a lot of office buildings available. How difficult is it to go office to residential? It's something that I was just reading up about.
In Hamilton, it's very possible now.
Yeah.
When you say go from office to residential, what do you mean?
I'm talking about like turning an office building into
condos,
apartment building.
It's easy. You can do what you want, really.
You have to get it rezoned, but it is very possible now.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the government's definitely encouraging a lot of investment in
The
obviously northeast
economic
Hamilton,
empowerment,
but even Hamilton proper, I guess we could call it.
Proper.
Hamilton proper. Yeah, Hamilton proper, city of Hamilton. But even for a lot of residential, they were definitely encouraging.
No,
that.
100%.
And where it could even be purchased by anyone in the world for residents.
Yeah, I think they've made some changes to the economic empowerment zone. They've also talked about in the budget most recently. They've talked about 5% increases, which isn't set in stone, but on the stamp duty and land tax. So all of that type of stuff plays in.
As of
factors.
now, that's what's being discussed, but that perhaps could change.
But we're going to fight back.
Well, with those guns, we're safe.
Anywho, that's
but
we're getting off topic. So on that note, Robert J. Richardson, it has been a pleasure.
Thanks
Much
for
appreciated.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Great to see the dueling Giles and the dueling J middle names, but thank you. You've really provided.
Are you wearing the same outfit from last week?
Why are you doing that?
Maybe a different pocket square. But no, thank you so much for joining us. And I appreciate that we've had a little bit of sunshine in what is an absolutely incredible property here. If
Beautiful
you have any
property.
questions for Robbie, definitely we'll have his contact details here. And feel free to reach out to him. And any last words?
No, thanks for having me. It's been a fun episode. A bit wet at the start, but hey, we got it done. I'm glad we stuck to it. Yeah,
Robert. My bad.
Wow. Amazing. Thank you to Robert J. Richardson, also known as Robbie. Also, often people just call him Jay. So it was great to have him on, hearing about everything quantity surveying. Also, special shout out to the sponsors.
We just talked about that. OneCom, Greenlight Energy, and Hamilton Legal.
Yeah.
They, tremendous work. Awesome. They pay the bills. Give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks. Blessings.
To the Most High. Keys to the episode,
keys
Daniel.
to the episode.
What was your key? What's your takeaway?
My key to the episode would be check the weather.
I was going to say that. Finish each other's sentences.
But no, my key to the episode would be just I didn't feel like we say this every time with each guest that we have, but the importance of the quantity surveyor in anyone who's trying to do works. Robert J is going to actually spell out and quantify the exact amounts for the job or the works that you're trying to do, right? And I feel like that just plays vital importance because at the end of the day, it all comes down to cost, right? Like, you want to know how much you're going to have to how much it's going to have to spend to do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
So I would say just really reach out and make sure that when you're getting those contractor quotes and getting those bids and getting that type of stuff, that you're utilizing the services available. It wasn't that expensive in the grand scheme of what it could eventually save you, or at least help you budget better.
And also realize that often when you get these quotes and stuff like that they're probably outsourcing to someone like Jay, who's who's behind the scenes working out how much block and rebar and everything you need. So that and kind of my key is just to involve them as early on in the process as you can. Often people have me to their house and say, what would our house be worth if we did this renovation? Not even if they're going to necessarily look to sell or not, but just for my opinion on the value.
So you're trying to take my job?
No, but in a way, people just casually, and for me to keep that relationship with them, I'm more than happy to do that for free. And whereas you have a cost.
Yeah, no, I get paid.
I know, but no, just to establish that relationship and just to give them my rough ballpark of value. But for a quantity surveyor to have them come in right at the beginning, because I can say what it might be worth as a value, he's going to say what it's going to cost to actually do it.
Yeah, no,
and sometimes building and value, that's completely different things.
Two completely
and that's where
different.
you come in.
Yeah, because a lot of people think, I cost $2 million to build this property. Well, I didn't tell you build a $2 million house in
on a $1 million street or something.
Yeah,
and so then with comparables, it's worth 1.5.
So there's only so much you can do, right? But a lot of people overdevelop in spaces that it's just not feasible.
It's a good thing to be the smallest house or the least expensive house on the street often, because then your comparables are amazing, and then it allows you the flexibility that if you did put money into that location, it's going to be justified with the comparables. So
we're giving out too many secrets. So
I know.
On that note, we're gonna
small business shout out.
Small business shout out. So this isn't. I mean, it's not. I guess it's a small business, but
we always try to justify, is it medium?
But I'm gonna shout out MB Enterprise. So MB Enterprise basically do a spectrum of different works, but mainly it's trucking, it's power washing, general maintenance, all sorts of.
I thought you were going to shout out DW Ent.
No, D-Went before. But MB Enterprise, run by McQueen Birch. Awesome guys, done awesome work for me in the past. I just known them a long time. Does fantastic stuff. Got about 2 trucks, and we're gonna put his logo or information right here.
Contact.
But
there's a lot of contacts that Amir has to do today.
Yeah, Amir's gonna have his work cut out for him. That's why he gets paid the big bucks.
Yeah.
But I think that's it for us today. Glad the weather cooperated with us.
Exactly.
Finally.
Amazing location. Thank you for us, being able to be here. And Keys to the Rock, season 2, episode 2.
Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Reach out to Ben Rego or Daniel Woods for any of your real estate needs.
See you guys.